Heaven was the depth of ice cold and black. Every night at the crossroads, half the moon hit screaming back. You heard the stories, so it was no surprise. But at AM, the man died in the gutter, fire flash in the sky. You never know somebody till you've seen them separate survive. Some people see salvation from below, others from the sky. The death that died in plain sight. Blood comes when liquor is alone, singing, God, I'm the devil, and the devil is going home.
What's going on, guys? Episode number 12 of the Fighters Walk podcast. I'm your host, Corey Keene, and I'm going to keep this beginning short because I just wrapped up my second interview with the number 10 ranked heavyweight in the UFC worldwide, Chris Daukaus. We had a fun interview, so I'm going to keep this episode just the interview. I know there's fights this weekend. But with an interview like this, I'm just going to keep it the interview. And on Tuesday, I'll be back to my normal routine. It'll be post-fight of the Uriah Hall, Sean Strickland. And I'm going to come back with MMA in the Olympics. I had a lot of fun doing that, so I'm going to, like I said, come back with that. I'm going to highlight the featherweights. I have the bracket made up. Bracket's done. We'll go through that, find out who's on the podium as the gold medal winner, silver medalist, and then the bronze medalist. So we're here, not going anywhere. I'm having too much damn fun doing this. Special shout out to Chris and Kyle for coming on the show as my first two guests. They're great guys because if I asked them to be on the podcast tomorrow and they weren't busy, they'd hop right on. So it's always cool. So thank you again for supporting. Thank you again for following on Insta, subscribing to the YouTube channel, listening on Spotify, Apple Podcast, wherever you listen to your podcasts. Thank you. I really do appreciate it. So on to the interview. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Look out for my next episode. It'll be on Tuesday. Peace out. Talk soon. What's going on, Chris?
What's up, brother? How are you?
Good, man. Top 10 heavyweight in the world. I'm excited. Joined also with Cooper.
That's it. The guy, right? Yeah, right.
So, listen, I'm going to get right into it. I got the merch. I
appreciate that.
I got the merch.
Appreciate that.
I'm ready to wear this Saturday, tomorrow.
Yeah.
Not happening, right?
Definitely. I know. Yeah, definitely not happening. It was it kind of sucked. We got the phone call. Me and Kyle were actually in the car to the gym Monday night that my manager called me, and normally that's not a good sign. Called me saying that it wasn't going to happen. The night before we were supposed to fly out, so it really sucked. You put in this camp, and then the fight gets pushed back a week, and then still, I know, bro, I know, a couple minutes, okay. And then the fight gets pushed back a week later, and then you're like, okay, finally, it's going to happen, and then you get that call, and it sucks, and it wasn't even like he tested positive. To the best of my knowledge, and to the best of my whole camp's knowledge, he never tested positive. It was a cornerman who tested positive, but then he said that he was he had signs or symptoms of it, but he never tested positive, and that he was tired or weakened from I guess being around his coach. I don't know. I don't know if he quarantined and took 2 weeks off or what, but I just thought it was a little weird that he was ready to go the week before, and this never came up. Then all of a sudden, his coach tests positive, and then the following week, he's 2 weeks to fight. So it's a whole big thing.
Yeah, and I never want to be that guy, but when I was doing a little bit of research, I was looking at Tapology, and I don't know if you believe in like signs or anything like that, but I was looking, and he was supposed to fight Gon 2 times as well, and now that's 2 times for you. I mean, it looks like, so you're going to be fighting the 25th September
25th, same guy. It's going to be on the Volkanovski Ortega card, so that's going to be a pay-per-view card. It'll be at the T-Mobile Arena, so that'll be super exciting, especially with all the fans. But you know what? He's, like you said, I mean, look at his Tapology. His last now 5 fights, he was supposed to fight in, and something's always come up. So it's kind of been like it's a little weird trying to get mentally prepared for that type of fighter, and just to fight. I mean, come fight night, I'll be ready. Come fight week, I'll be ready. It's just gonna really suck if this happens again for a third time. Because I'm not working for the police department anymore. I'm not doing any of that. So this is my livelihood now. So I have to provide for him and my wife. So this is, 2 fights, 3 fights really, if he pulls out of the next one that I could have been making money on. And, I don't know what the UFC is going to do as far as, like rebooking me right away, or if they're going to have someone on standby. So, we'll see. We'll see in like 7 weeks what happens.
Now, when this happened for a second time, did you try to say, hey, can you get me someone? Like, I'm ready. I've been ready for 2 weeks. Like,
it's just, not a lot of guys will take, a short notice fight like that. And especially with the whole like COVID thing and the UFC's protocols, you have to get tested right before you fly out. So we fly out on Tuesday, so they'll send home wherever you live, they'll send a test. You have to do it through like Zoom or Skype or whatever with a doctor. And then once that comes back negative, you can fly out to Vegas. So I don't know what the timeline was going to do, but pretty much everyone, I think, in the top 15 or the top 12 have flights booked. So I don't know who they would have gotten. So it was kind of like I was stuck in like a rock and a hard place. Like, I'm not going to be able to fight against Shamil because obviously he feels weak because he's scared. What? You're all right. I know. Lucy's trying to get you. And then, no one else will take the fight just because everyone else has fights lined up. So it kind of sucks. But apparently the UFC matchmakers, they're big on trying to make this fight. So, hey, if all I can do is just be prepared and make sure that I show up to fight ready. So that's it.
And I feel like it kind of goes with any division where you're like that top 15, top 10 area. Yeah. I don't think anyone's going to want to really take a short notice fight who's higher up. Is that something you could agree with? Or
Yeah, generally, yeah. I mean, normally the guys who are taking those short notice fights are the guys trying to get there. If something happens to the Cyril Gane, Derek Lewis fight, I'll gladly throw my name in there. I'll throw my hat into the mix. But it's got to be a 2-way street with fighting. Like I could say I accept the fight all the time, but if the other guy doesn't, then there's nothing really I can do. So.
And going back to that pay-per-view card, I don't know if you looked into it deep enough, but did you see Curtis Blades and Jairzinho Rozenstruik on? So I mean, hey,
yeah,
get a nice knockout. There's your next fight. I'm the matchmaker.
That's it.
There's your next fight.
And that's it. That's kind of like the thing. I was scouting out the card, and they're fighting on it. And I'll gladly take the winner of that. So I'm down for whatever the UFC wants to do. But yeah, if that's the case, either one of them is fine. So I'm real excited to fight either of them.
Well, I'm just looking forward to seeing that fight. I mean, I was excited. How crazy, like, has this past year and some change been so quick for you? I mean, you go from CFFC, you're gonna main event for their title. and then you're right into the UFC. Like, were there talks of
Yeah.
like the Contender Series, or
There
was
was
it just like, hey, we need you, like, you want to fight?
Yeah, yeah. It was kind of like, I mean, Kyle got on the Contender Series. He didn't get the nod that night. So, they knew who we were. They knew who my brother was. Obviously, but I felt personally that I was not going to get the call to either A, the UFC, or B, the Contender Series without winning the CFC belt. And I just thought that that's just how it was. I was fully planning on, winning the belt, and then if I had to defend it once or twice, I had to defend it, and then get the call that way. But a week out from that fight, I get the call saying, you're going to UFC 252, and the rest is history, as they say. I've just been, winning fights in the UFC, which is great. But to think back to how your life can change in a year, it's crazy to think about. Going stressing about opponents and everything on the regional scene to stressing about everybody on the world stage in UFC.
Yeah, and I remember when Kyle had told me that you were going to be fighting, I was like, all right. So then I looked up who you were fighting. Didn't know much about him, but you took the opportunity, you ran with it, and three fights later in the UFC, you've been on a tear, and it's been awesome to see.
Yeah. So when I originally got the call to fight Parker Porter, I knew who he was. He's a local guy in the fact that he's from, the Northeast area of the United States. Especially with heavyweights, like if you hear he was considered, the guy who was super tough, super technical, but for whatever reason, he just never got the call to the UFC. And then, I got his name and it was for the UFC, and I figured we were going to meet, sooner or later, and I just didn't think it was going to be in the UFC, but hey, I was happy to throw down with him at a UFC debut.
So I have a couple questions for you. We'll change it up a little bit. One question I actually didn't ask Kyle when I interviewed him, but I kind of know just from hanging out with him. Did you ever play any other sports in high school? Or did you just one day go to a gym and start training?
No, so I didn't even start training. I started training in college. So I played all sports growing up, mainly soccer. I played soccer for 18, 19 years of my life. Baseball, and then once I got to high school, I was actually getting recruited to play baseball. The baseball coach was like, "Oh, yo, you should really come after the team. You should keep doing this." And I was like, "All right," but I want to try lacrosse out. So I played lacrosse for 4 years, all Catholic, all 4 years. So it was really good. Decided to play football my senior year. Played football senior year, and then I was in college. I was trying to play for Penn State Abington. So they started up a lacrosse team, and they were going to be considered a D3 school because it's part of Penn State, but it's not really Penn State.
Yep.
But yeah, and then I kind of just driving past the gym all the time and decided to go in.
Now, have you been a lifelong fan of the UFC?
Oh yeah,
always.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. I remember my buddy. What's up, bud? I remember my buddy Pete Selecchia. He lived down the block from us. He lived at the top of the block. His dad had the old school hot box, and he's flipping through it one day, and UFC 2 or 3 was on, and we were watching that. And then I know, go watch the show, bud. And then that was on, and that was whether the first time I ever seen it, I was super young. And then ever since the Ultimate Fighter got on with Forrest Griffin and Stephen Bonner, I've been hooked. So
speaking of that, I know Kyle, I think, told me, if you want to talk a little bit about it, you were going to be on the Ultimate Fighter, right?
I was going to be on the Ultimate Fighter. So when they were having the heavyweight season, I was out there, went out, flew out, me and Kyle tried out. So the whole process is really weird. You fly out to this hotel, boop, you fly out to this hotel, you just show up, and it's, Mick Maynard, Sean Shelby. And you literally you're separated into groups, and they're like, all right, group A and group B, you guys are going to be grappling first, and then group C and D, you're going to be striking first. So my group started out grappling. They just picked random dudes. They were like, all right, Chris, you're going to be going with Corey. grapple until someone taps or gives up. So it's no leg locks. You're starting from your knees. Show us something, but don't go too crazy. So I ended up submitting my guy. It was I think they're only like a minute and a half rounds. So I was just quick going, submitted my guy, and then they didn't want any of us to do striking. So got done. They were like, all right, if we call your name, you're going to be hanging out for the interviews. And I got, through 2 rounds of interviews. So I had to change my flight, do everything like that. And I hung out with the UFC, got all kinds of medical tests done by them, by their doctors, seeing everybody. I was told, my manager was told, hey, listen, you're on the show. Get your affairs in order because you're going to be gone for, 6 to 8 weeks, whatever it is. I started doing everything for work. And then all of a sudden, Josh Parisian, I think it was, he fought on the Contender Series, was super impressive on the Contender Series. Didn't get the UFC contract, but they were like, hey, we're going to give you a spot on the Ultimate Fighter. And he took my spot on the Ultimate Fighter. So then they called me and they're like, yeah, you're getting bumped from the Ultimate Fighter. You're not going. So I was like, great. So, yeah.
In a sense, is it, obviously it's a crazy tournament, lot at stake, but in a sense, is it kind of like any reality show where they are looking for somewhat of a story too?
They're looking for, what they were saying with, especially with this new season, is that they were getting away from that. So like before they wanted TV, they wanted a good show. They wanted characters. They wanted all that. When you sit down, when you're going through the process of the Ultimate Fighter, you're sitting down with the, there's like 15 producers and everyone's asking you all these crazy questions and, about your personality, like, how you're going to be on the show and stuff like that. But in this season, they've gotten away from that and they've done more towards the actual skill level. Because this isn't anything new. Like if you look at the past Ultimate Fighters, there's people who can fight and there's people who were just there for TV. And that's just the way it is. I'm glad that the Ultimate Fighter has gone back to, being about fighters. But that was a concern. My brother, me. We're not really like, out there and all. So we're kind of introverted. So that was playing a factor in things. But the producers like me. They like my story with being a cop and working full time. So that was a good thing. Yeah, handcuffs. Yeah. And then, it was good. But just sucks. I mean, would I change it? Nah. I'm happy with where I'm at. I don't know how I would have fared. Just with the whole mindset of going in there with all those people and living with the people and competing against them and all that. So it would have definitely been a super surreal experience. But I'm really glad that I got into the UFC the way I did.
And you're so damn good on social media. I don't know how you would have lasted all that time with no cell phone.
I know, yeah. And that's what I've been trying to do. Like I've been trying to get on Twitter a lot lately to build my brand and get more people to follow me and just because you're marketing. You're marketing yourself as a fighter. So, people want to see you, they get interested, and that's just how you get bigger and better spots, especially like with co-main events or main eventing a spot or you're a spot for a title. Like look at Charles Oliveira. He had to fight 11 times, 12 times before he got a belt. So, and there's other guys who were active on social media and, who were out there talking, who get title shots after two fights. So
now does MMA Junkie like reach out to you and say like, hey, we're taking your tweet
Nope.
or they'll just put that out there. So you just found that out.
Yep. Yeah. I appreciate them for tagging me in it. What's up? I know. Yeah. I appreciate them for tagging me in it, but now they literally just screenshot it, put it on like a picture and just post it.
And I mean, that's great publicity for you though. I mean,
absolutely.
People who may not, they're just kind of like, they're fans of the UFC, but they don't know all the guys. They see a tweet like that and they're like, wow, I'm
going to check them out. Yeah.
This is getting interesting now. So
yeah.
it was cool to see that. I know Rachel tagged me in it. I didn't even see it because I was working and I was like, holy shit, this is crazy.
Yeah, and it's weird. So like after like the past week, like this past like I don't even say week, I'd say like 4 days, like my Twitter follower has jumped like 700, 800 people. Like it's ridiculous. Like you start tweeting a little bit, you might interact with a few people and start saying some funny stuff, and they'll follow you, and it's crazy. And then what's about it? I see. Look, and then it's crazy to think like that's how you get, more money, more publicity, is just interacting with people. And that's something I've been really trying to work on.
And you're still at the point with like the social media thing, like you could reach out to a good amount of people, I'd imagine, on like Twitter.
Absolutely.
And you guys are pretty good with that. I see you guys interacting. And I mean, as a fan of the sport, I know like when I tweet at someone just to say something, and even if it's just a like, it does make you as a fan feel like, oh shit, like he saw that. Like that's pretty cool.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing. Like after every interview or whatever I've ever done, I've always, told people that if they want to reach out to me, I'll get to it eventually. Like my Twitter, you'll probably reach me better on Twitter. My Instagram, I get like weird messages on Twitter all the time. It's like the weirdest thing in the world. Like I get like people from like Russia messaging me, and like I have like 500 like pending messages on my Instagram, and I'm just like, it's so weird. Like with the Instagram, I don't know. I've recently grown to like Twitter a little bit more. But yeah, and that's what's, I wanted to be like that. Like if I ever reach this point, that was always something that I thought that I should do, or I should be able to do, is that if someone reaches out and like says something, or like questions, or like has like a question for me, that I could at least do that. Like, my life isn't like, I'm not like some high and mighty dude. I can, reach out to any one of them. So.
Yeah, so I got a couple more things for you if you have the time.
Yeah,
I know Cooper said it's all right.
It's
I
all
think,
right.
right?
He's all right. Yeah, you're good. You're good.
So I wanted to say shout out to my two buddies, Brad and Nate, who are in the they're PA state troopers, and you had said you just ended with Philly. You're done now?
So I'm still running some time. So I have some time left, and then I'm going to take a year of absence after that time's up. So, I mean, I'm not going to work anymore. I'm not, I still talk to all the guys and everything like that who I work with. I still hang out with them and all that, but I'm not going to work. I'm not doing that anymore. For the first part of this camp, I was still working, but now that everything has been pushed back, I'm not going to be working for this camp. So it'll be interesting to see how my body reacts to that. Especially with the added training sessions. I just think that you even ask Kyle and all that. I think that my the workload is dictating where my weight is. So I'm going to have to figure out how the best way to manage that. Because if this fight gets pushed into October, or I have another fight before September or after September, and this one gets canceled, I'm going to be fighting at 205 pretty soon. So this is it's getting crazy, but yeah, it's really cool to see that, that for the first time in like 10, 11 years, I'm not doing two jobs. So it's really good.
Yeah. And they're not the biggest MMA fans, but when I started telling them about you guys, they both followed you. Like they're all in on you. So you got
I appreciate that.
I'm sure you have a bunch of cops everywhere who are rooting for you, but those two guys, they're my best friends. They wanted me to say something, so
I appreciate you guys. Thanks.
Wanted to let you know. Two more things I got for you.
Yeah.
Number one, I wanted to ask you this question because I don't think I really talked to you about it the couple times we've interacted. Okay. What's Fight Island like? How is that whole process? Like, would you go back? I guess
I would go back. I would go back. Strictly because it was an experience. It was something that I enjoyed certain aspects of it. I did not enjoy other aspects of it. So how the whole Fight Island works is so you have to be out there, just say Monday. Say you have to be in Abu Dhabi on Monday. You got to go to Vegas the Thursday before and quarantine in Vegas for 2 days. So you're not allowed out of your room. You're not allowed to do anything. You're getting COVID tested, all that good stuff. Once you're good, clean bill of health, you're good to go. Right to the airport at like 2 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock in the morning. Right on the plane, and then you're in the plane for 18 hours. That plane ride sucked. Like, I'm not big on airplanes. I hate flying. Dude,
on the other side of the world.
And I fell asleep. I fell asleep for like 10 hours. I woke up and I'm like, dude, I still got another like 8 hours, like 6 hours on this damn plane. But the plane ride itself was the greatest plane ride I've ever been on.
That plane
The
looks
smooth.
so dope.
It's huge. It's huge, and all the fighters are in like first and business class. So, on my way there, I had like a little bed, like I could like put my legs up and like lean back a little bit. I had like my own TV. Anything you wanted to eat, they had a whole menu spread out for us. Anything you wanted, all you had to do was ask. Nothing was, you didn't have to pay for anything. And then on the way back, I had my own bed. It was like something out of a movie. Like it was literally like a little apartment. I know, it's crazy.
Are you with your team? Like that? Is your team by you or?
No, so they were like in the back of the plane, but there was only, so think of like a couple 100-seat plane, but there was only 40 of us on the plane.
Yeah.
So there was all the fighters up in the front, but then all the cornermen were in the back, and everyone had like 2 to 3 rows themselves. I know, it was crazy. It was really big. Yeah. And then, and the same thing with the cornermen and everything like that. Anything they wanted, just got. Didn't matter, whatever. But the worst part is just hanging out in the hotel room for the two days or whatever you have to do. It is so hot there, dude. I've never felt heat like that in my life. Like, I thought Vegas is hot, but it's different because it's not humid. And then like Florida's hot and it's humid, but it's like that on like steroids. Like I literally came outside in Abu Dhabi and I'm like, I had like a jacket on just because the flight was cold and Vegas was a little cold, and I'm just like, dude, I'm starting like stripping in Abu Dhabi, and people are like yelling at me like, you can't do that. I'm like, I don't care, I'm doing it. And then you get on this bus, you're on a bus ride going through like, I don't even know where the hell I was, dude, but it looked like there was like construction all around. There was like a random dude up on like this building, just building shit by himself, and I'm like, what are we doing? And then all of a sudden you go underneath the water, you're coming out on the island, and there's literally dudes in like hazmat suits. They're like, all right, we're gonna unload your bags. You get off the bus, and they're like, which one's your bag? And I'm like, all right, that one's my bag. They're like, all right, don't touch it, don't touch anything. And I'm literally standing here like this, and they're like spraying me down. They're like wiping my bag down. They grab my luggage, they're wiping all down. They're like, all right, go check in, and then go upstairs to your room. And yeah, it was wild. And then you had to stay in the room. Like, you couldn't leave the room. Like, all the food that you wanted, they brought it up. They knocked and left it on the doorstep. I had to get like 2 microwaves because my first microwave broke, which sucked. But I would definitely do it again. The biggest adjustment I would say was me having to stay up. So we had a fight. I think it was like prime time here, so it was like 8 or 9 o'clock.
Yep.
But we were fighting in the middle of the night over there. Like, I fought at like 3:30 or 4 o'clock in the morning in Abu Dhabi. So when I got done with like media and everything like that, it was like 7 a.m. in the morning. So the after party, if you want to call it that, was like me having breakfast. Like, it was.
I was gonna ask. So I know that's how it is, and like that. God bless those dudes in like that first spot. Like they're fighting. Like, what is it? Abu Dhabi local time, like 2:30 a.m. Are they fighting? Like 3 a.m.?
No, I think
or a little later.
A little later. No, because I had to be down. I had to be in like the hotel lobby, I think at like 1 a.m. And I was probably like the 5th or 6th fight, I'd say.
Dude, I would be like this at 1 a.m. I don't even know how you could. I mean, yeah, you're going into a fight, so I guess it's a little different, but
yeah. But during that whole trip, I planned for it because I was like watching like the guys before who fought and like what they did. Yeah. And I watched a lot of like the city kickboxing guys, and they would do like video blogs about what they did. So they were sleeping during the day, like local Abu Dhabi time, sleeping in the middle of the day and being up all night because they were fighting at night. And I was like, okay, that makes sense. I should probably do that. But dude, that sucks. It absolutely sucks because they're calling you like in the middle of the day. You got media obligations in the middle of the day. You gotta go do shit for the UFC in the middle of the day. And I'm like, dude, I'm just trying to sleep. Like ask Kyle about it. Like I would weighed in 227. I'm literally eating like my bowl of food, and it's like a pound of food, and I'm getting like halfway through it, and I'm like gagging on it. Like, my body was just shutting down. So that would be something I would have to figure out what was up with that. But I'd go again. Yeah,
Yeah.
I would definitely go again.
Yeah, I ESPN Plus did a really cool, like, I think it's Classified or something like
Yeah.
that. They did a real
Yeah.
cool thing on the inside of that whole process, and I thought that thing was
Yeah.
really awesome. And it's something that, if you think about it, the only thing remotely close, in my opinion, is how they do it with the Olympics.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. I would agree on that. And I said it like after the fight, if fighters can get out, there to at least experience that, just experience it, just because it really is a great time. You're flying all the way across the world. Um, the island itself is cool because you're on like your own island. And I was literally riding a bike at like 4:00 in the morning on like a 6-lane highway, and it's like there's no one around.
Yeah.
And it was awesome. I'm going to like the other hotels, just like exploring pretty much. And yeah, it was really cool. It was really cool.
That's right up my alley. If the
Yeah.
less people, the better. I don't know. That's just
Yeah.
me though.
No, but it was seriously. It was like the fighters, like the people who worked there, and then like all the UFC teams. So like there was like a hotel for like everyone who was working on the island who lived there. There was like all the fighters hotels, and then everyone who worked for the UFC, and they were all in like 3 little different spots. But it's a bike ride. It was like a 2 or 3 minute bike ride. So you could go check that out. And then, with the cage on the beach and all that, like all that's man-made. Like the water that's out there, that's all man-made. But they throw fish in there, which is weird. So it was like super hot bath water. Like
Yeah.
I like put like I walked into it like up to my knees, and I'm like, oh, this is gross, man. I'm getting out of this thing. So yeah. But it was pretty cool.
Yeah. And then last thing, kind of segueing in, I don't know, did you by any chance get the chance to watch my last episode or no?
I don't believe I did. Not yet, no.
All right. Well, I did a segment, MMA in the Olympics. Okay. I had
that's
blast.
right. Yeah. You were talking about that, and then they put it out. I seen Chael was talking about it. Chael Sonnen was talking about that. And you were like,
I was like,
I wonder how it's weird that I start talking about it, and then all of a sudden it gets on ESPN.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know what they're doing out there. But anyways, most of my podcasts, as you know, are by myself. I have a good time talking to myself. That's just me.
Nothing wrong with that.
But I had a blast doing this. I don't know what your thoughts are. Like, I was talking about it, and like how the Olympics are set up, it would be very tough to get a bracket of MMA fights done in the Olympic time period.
Yeah.
What I had said was, if you just kind of how they do with Olympic boxing, kind of, I don't know, maybe not headgear, but kind of make it as if it's amateur style field, just so you're not looking for crazy knockouts, but you're kind of just testing the waters, seeing how this would go, and kind of making it a thing. Like, would you like to see MMA in the Olympics? Or
absolutely, yeah.
Do you think it'd be a cool concept?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, they're bringing in Muay Thai, so yeah, why not? I mean, they're doing, they have an international, I think it's like amateur MMA federation, and they have a bunch of rules and gear that would absolutely work for the Olympics. Like, there's no knees to the head. I think they wear bigger gloves. They wear shin pads. There's no elbows of any kind once you hit the ground or standing. Certain submissions are not allowed because you're still an amateur. But if you fight under that rule set, because like you said, it's a tournament style, there's no reason that if I'm trying to get into the Olympics, I'm trying to get a gold medal for my country, that I have to worry about getting cut. Now, granted, you have to worry about getting cut. It's an MMA fight. But if you take out one of the things, such as elbows, that causes the most cuts, knees to the head, that causes the most cut. I know, but I'm almost done, okay? I know you got boo. There you go, all back.
Almost done, Coop.
Almost done, bud. So if you take out those things, you can definitely work on the tournament style that you see in MMA and especially in the Olympics. Especially with wrestling. Like, look at the guys in wrestling. I think they're starting up pretty soon. If one of them gets cut, they just tape themselves up. But if you can eliminate all that, that's phenomenal. But the way that organization does, I think it's like the IMMAF or something like that. They have a whole breakdown of everything, of what they allow and what they don't allow. I think that'll be the best bet to getting it started. And then once you get it started, you have to figure out, how you're going to branch out from that. Like I was watching what Chael said, because you were saying that, and I wanted to compare what you guys were saying. Chael was saying about how boxing is in the Olympics. They're all amateurs. Like, so you're not going to get, like, I don't think they would ask me to compete for the United States in the Olympics for MMA. So it would be amateur guys, because his point was, why would you take a prize fighter? I'm not saying I fight for money. So
I know what you're saying. Yep.
Yeah. So why would they ask me, I'm not going to take that pay cut to go train for however many months to go to the Olympics for whatever, to get into fights that I'm not going to be paid for, and I could possibly get an Olympic medal. I mean, some guys would do that. I don't know about other guys who would do that. So we'll see. I don't know.
Yeah.
But then I know the fishy. And then the argument for that is, the skill level for the people who are competing, like, and then there's certain rules and regulations that apply in America. I know Nemo's in the water, and there's other certain rules and regulations that don't apply in, let's say, Russia or England. Like, you could have a world-class Sambo guy who's been competing for 10 years, but he's still technically an amateur in MMA.
Yep.
And then that dude just runs through everybody and he gets a gold medal, So there's other aspects to the sport, or including that in the Olympics, that'll definitely play a factor.
Yeah, I thought it was funny when I saw ESPN MMA post that, and I was like, dude, I did this 4 days ago. Like, really? This is give me a little bit of credit, a little bit of shout out.
Yeah, give you a little shout out or something.
What are you going to do? But what I did was, just to have a little more fun with it and show a visual, I made a bracket. I did bantamweights, and what I did was I took for the normal fan, just to see names, I took the number one worldwide guy from each country. So, and that's how I set the bracket up. And that's how I did the seeding. So, like, obviously, I had some people say, like, why would you pick Aljamain Sterling for U.S. and not, like, a TJ Dillashaw? I was like, well, because if you listen to me, I took the number one guy in the world.
Yeah, the number one guy from each country,
and he is the champion. So, with that being said, you know UFC. I don't have the bracket here. Who do you think was my gold medalist for, if that's how I did it? Bantamweights.
Bantamweights?
Don't think too hard into this either.
Peter Yan.
Yeah, that's who I had winning the gold medal, and then I actually had Merab winning silver.
Oh yeah, I like that.
I think I love his style. I think he's
and that's the thing. And that's the thing. If you were to do the Olympic style, you would have to change certain rule sets. So his style of fighting would cater to the Olympic style.
Because he
of fighting.
He'll maul you on the ground.
He'll just maul you on the ground, and then they're obviously going to score that for him. So as long as he stays on top, or if you get up, he'll take you down 30 times. It doesn't matter to him. So
yeah, but I did like how you said kind of how it is with boxing, like the amateur style, maybe giving guys chance that you have no idea who these guys are, like a chance for an Olympic medal. I think. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah,
I think that'd be really cool. See.
It would. But then you have to think about the almighty dollar, because everyone's going to want to be, if MMA does go to the Olympics, everyone and their brother is going to want to see who's, Team Russia, who's on Team Russia, who's on, Team Great Britain, who's, and then everybody's going to want to win. So the countries are going to be like, hey, we should probably like pay some people to come and fight for, the United States or Russia. So then that gets a whole, like, is it really amateurs, or is it just really good guys who haven't made the pro jump yet? You know what I mean?
Yep. So, well, thanks, Chris. I don't know what I basically said everything I need to, and tell Cooper I said thanks as well.
Corey says thank you.
I know. I'm looking. This is going to be my biggest video yet, because I think Cooper is going to steal the show. No offense.
He's definitely stealing the show. It's all right. He's going to steal my nose too. You stealing my nose? Yeah. Here, come on, sit up. We'll get some food, okay?
All right, Chris. Thank you.
Thank you for
I appreciate it. And I'll be talking to you soon.
All right, man. I can't wait to see you at the next pay-per-view.
Yep,
So
you will. And
actually,
what were you gonna say?
Are you gonna be? You coming over for the? Is Kyle doing the Derek Lewis card or no? Is that a pay-per-view card yet?
We didn't really talk about that yet. Tomorrow we're actually going down to that the Taco Fest down
Fest at Xfinity.
Yeah, so we're gonna do that, and then we'll see what even the fights tomorrow night. But we'll play it by ear, but I'm sure we get together for most of the fights.
Yeah. So
don't be afraid. Once I get my my press pass, hopefully I'll be coming to your fights.
Listen, you get the press pass. I will give you the first question and not John Morgan. Promise me that. I will give you the first question, not John Morgan.
Listen, that might be the biggest plug I've ever gotten. So
there you go.
I appreciate that.
Of course.
Take that, John Morgan. Appreciate it.
Yeah, take that, John Morgan.
All right, Chris. I'll talk to you. Thank you.
All right, brother. I'll see you.
Have a good one.
You too.
See ya.